We are standing at the headquarters in South Africa of SANCCOB in Tableview in Cape Town, where this morning we're speaking about the importance of World Ranger Day. Now, if you think about a ranger, a wildlife ranger, you think of somebody who's guarding rhinos and great big animals like that. But actually, the African penguin is one of the most threatened species in our country at the moment, and the rangers who do their work in far-flung areas with these birds are absolutely vital. And to speak to us about the importance of rangers, but also what's happening with the African penguin, we're speaking to Nikki Stander, who's the head of conservation at SANCCOB. Nikki, thank you very much for your time this morning. Talk to us about rangers and the important role they play.
Our rangers, or Seabird Rangers, are incredibly important. We have 11 who are deployed at seabird colonies around the Western Cape and the Eastern Cape. And if we think about the importance of African penguin conservation, really their job couldn't be more important. So the African penguin is classified as endangered. It is under the process of being uplisted to critically endangered this year, so that will happen. And it speaks to the severe decline that the species has experienced in the last few decades. So these rangers are deployed purely to dedicate their time to monitoring African penguins in the wild, making sure that they identify the threats that are facing them, collecting data and intervening when necessary. So obviously here we have a seabird hospital, and the rangers are very much part of rescuing those birds when they need to be rescued and transporting them over to our hospital. So the rangers are very much our eyes and ears on the ground, telling us what is happening, what are they observing, what's happening to the penguin. And we really couldn't be without them today. The conservation authorities are also extremely grateful. It is their mandate to monitor African penguins and other seabirds at these colonies, but due to budgetary constraints and so on, it's just becoming more difficult. So these rangers are dedicated to monitoring these species. And of course, on a day like today, we salute our seabird rangers. We think they're amazing. They work in very hostile conditions. In the stormy weather that the Cape has been experiencing, they are out day and night looking for birds that need to be rescued, or for flooding of nests that they need to sort of deal with, and we couldn't be more proud of our seabird rangers today.
One of those colonies is, of course, Robben Island, and it's a World Heritage Site. And there, a lone ranger is standing guard over those birds. I mean, it must be a difficult feat. I don't think people always appreciate how difficult it is for these rangers to do their job, not so?
Island life isn't for everybody. So Yandisa is our ranger, a female ranger on Robben Island, and absolutely it's her job to go out every day monitoring the seabird colony and the penguins on Robben Island. So she may be stuck with situations where the weather is very bad and boats are not possible to transport the birds back and forth from the islands. And she would have the responsibility of stabilizing birds herself without any assistance, without any fancy equipment. Just her and her expertise and her, of course, dedication and passion, and that's really what shines through. So absolutely, island life is not for everybody, but she seems to love it, and she's very happy there, and we're grateful for Yandisa.
You were talking a little bit earlier about the African penguin being now declared extremely vulnerable to extinction. There's also the term floating around functionally extinct by 2030. That's in 6 years' time. We also know that there's a court case coming up. Speak to us about that. What is this court case about?
The African penguin has many threats facing it. Everyone would know about pollution, the oil spills that we're seeing, climate change, but the primary driver facing the decline of the penguins is actually food availability. So where they forage around their colonies, is they're looking for sardine and anchovy. That's what they specialize on as their food source. But that's also the same food source that the commercial purse seine fisheries focus on. And so there's competition, direct competition between the penguins and the commercial purse seine fishing. So for many years, the conservation sector has been trying to engage with the government and the industrial fishing to say, these birds are not finding enough food. The science is showing that they're simply starving to death out there. And so this year in March, BirdLife South Africa and SANCCOB decided that we need to take a bolder step, and we're litigating against the South African government, the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, to try and secure enough food for the African penguin. If we don't, our fear is that the penguin will become extinct in the next 10 years, and we simply can't allow that to happen.
Thank you very much. Nikki Stander, the head of conservation at SANCCOB here in Cape Town. And of course, the African penguin is also a very important indicator of what is happening in the oceans as well. So as Nikki said there, the balance of everything is critical and very, very important. And certainly the species has been under severe threat for over a century now, but now it's coming to crunch time. So we salute all the rangers out there who do their work in very, very difficult circumstances. And one of those is living on Robben Island as we speak, alone, doing her work alone, bravely facing the elements to protect these species and do her very, very best to ensure that her bit helps to conserve and protect the species so that it will survive.